here Paul comes to the direct question of the resurrection body. And what does he say? Does he say there will be no body? No, obviously not. He describes it as a glorious body, not unlike, as we already mentioned, 2nd Baruch does. Now, the seed analogy here is super important. The seed and the plant are clearly different from each other, the plant being much more glorious than the seed, and yet there's continuity between the two, right? The seed is sown and it becomes transformed into the plant. Likewise with the resurrected body. Paul says it will be much more glorious than the perishable body that dies, but it's actually the same body, only transformed just like the seed is transformed into the plant. And notice here that he says the body is sown perishable, that is, the body is raised imperishable. Again, the word it here doesn't introduce a new entity, but it instead refers back to the body that was sown. That is, it's the body that is going to be raised imperishable. And then he goes on straightforwardly to say that it's sown a natural body and it's raised a spiritual body. He doesn't say it's raised a bodiless spirit, but a spiritual body. And hopefully it's already plain from what we've already covered in this series that by spiritual body, Paul doesn't mean anything non-physical. After all, he just got through explaining that the spiritual body is a body that is a transformed and glorified version of the perishable body. But also, Paul wrote this in the 50s of the 1st century CE, and this is before the word spirit was spiritualistic. You may remember that at the end of Trent's presentation, he quoted the 3rd century church father Origen, who was an immaterialist, but even he understood the word spirit to be indicating something material. And moreover, just a few chapters earlier in this very letter, Paul says something about the children of Israel during the Exodus, that they all ate of the same spiritual food and drank the same spiritual drink. That's 1 Corinthians 10:3-4. And obviously, Paul wasn't saying that the food and drink that they were consuming was immaterial. It's just that it was spiritual by virtue of the fact that it was given by the power of God. We'll just read this one more passage from 1 Corinthians 15. Behold, I tell you a mystery. We will not all sleep, but we will all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye at the last trumpet. For the trumpet will sound, and the dead will be raised incorruptible, and we will be changed. For this perishable body must become imperishable, and this mortal must put on immortality. But when this perishable body will have become imperishable, and this mortal will have put on immortality, then what is written will happen: death is swallowed up in victory. So notice that Paul is saying that even those who don't die will have their bodies transformed. Now here he's not describing a soul leaving a body, and he's not describing the body being dissolved in immateriality. There is no immateriality here at all. Instead, the body is the person. And notice he says that we will be changed, and then he describes bodily transformation.